right, guys. So now that we know we got our addition to Kahnawake CrossFit, there was a strategic reason for this addition. It wasn't just to kind of start building muscle and looking a certain way. Of course, that's cool. You can do that if you want to work on your aesthetics. Bodybuilding is excellent for that. But now what we can do is we could actually take muscle groups that we might be lacking in strength as we do a Metcon, and we can finish our Metcons, come over to this side of the gym, and start to isolate and strengthen those weak points. So it's going to be a game changer for CrossFit, especially people who plan on competing a little bit more. You're going to be able to kind of jumpstart your strength development by isolating your muscles. So just as an example, I'm going to do today's accessory work. I just want to say the date, September 27th. Today we have chest to bar pull-ups. What was the other thing? What was the other thing that we did? Thrusters. So chest to bar pull-ups, thrusters, muscle ups. So we got some back. We have a lot of back strength. So people who struggle with pull-ups, one thing to start investing in, and remember the reason why I say investing is because it's not going to pay off for you right away. It's going to pay off for you down the road. So you have to keep doing it. Is something to work on your back. So I'm going to be doing lat pull downs today. That's part of the accessory training. We also have thrusters, which incorporate our shoulders. If you ever want to get maybe stronger shoulders for thrusters, you want to start to try to do the RX weights, isolate your shoulders. We're going to do some shoulder presses today to help build strength after your workout. Thrusters also incorporate the legs. So we're actually going to do some hack squats today. If you feel like you're weak in the legs to do, like, say you want to try the 50s, but it's too heavy, your legs aren't strong enough to squat, or the 35s for the ladies, you can start building your leg strength with this. So first exercise for today's accessory work is going to be lat pull downs. So come over here, Karina. So the first thing is we're going to look at not only we're doing lat pull downs, but we're going to do a specific grip. We're going to go with like a moderate grip somewhere here. Basically what I want you guys to do, or would like for people to in today's training to do, is try to recreate the same position that you would if you're doing pull-ups on a bar. So if I'm doing bar muscle ups today, I'm not grabbing any bar like this, right? So this is cool if I want to isolate a certain muscle, but here I want to build strength for CrossFit. So I'm going to try to get to the same grip that I want, that I use when I do pull-ups. I'm going to get the same thing on here, okay? So one thing that's cool about this is that like pull-ups are a great way to get stronger at pull-ups, ironically, right? There's nothing like a lat pull down machine. The reason is you could add weight and you could actually control the weight a lot better than if you were to do pull-ups on a bar. It's very hard to control where you are. I mean, obviously we have the down position and the finishing position, but in between, it's hard for a lot of people to kind of control what's going on and really isolate their back. So building a stronger back is what we want to do. So what we're going to do here is we're going to get in. So knees on the pad. I like to push on my toes. I don't know if that's genetics or what. So what I'm going to do is grab the bar. I'm going to go with the same grip that I would do pull-ups with. And because we did chest to bar today, what I would actually recommend is not only do a pull down, try to find your back and touch your chest. So all the way up. You control the negative, so that means when the handle goes up, we're going nice and slow, and you're going to be able to find your back. You're going to be able to feel your back when you do that. Actually, I don't even know where I'm at. I'll do one more. Okay, so basically what I was trying to picture there in my head was I'm going to force this bar to my chest. I'm going to try to pull it through my chest. And at the same time, I'm trying to do that with just my back. And what that means is if I start to feel this in my arms or my shoulders too much, what I should probably do is lower the weight down so that I can only feel my back moving the weight. That's the way that you want to do this. I'm going to get into my next set. So one thing to think about here is that we need to use weight that is not going to compromise what my goal is for what I'm doing right now. What is my goal? My goal is to try to develop my back so that it gets stronger, which is going to incorporate to the whole pull-up. I want to build all those pieces that are required to do a pull-up. And once they're all built, then I can do my pull-up. So here, I'm going to be putting the work into my back. So what that means is only increase weight if you feel like you can continue having good form. Where I'm trying to go with this, just to feel the back, is rep range 12 to 15. So what that means is if I hit 15 reps, I'm going to add more weight. If I hit 12 reps, I'm just making it. That's going to get risky. I want to be somewhere failing reps around 13 to 14 reps. So this is going to give me the stimulus that I want for this training. That's good. All right, that was different. Oh, good. Lat pull downs are done. Now we're going to get into the shoulder press. So first thing is the multi-press machine. This machine here, it has 3 different settings. You can go into the shoulder press position, which is going to bring the back of the bench as vertical as possible. Well, as it goes, it can go down to an incline, and it can go, let me show you. So incline. Oh, sorry, that was the incline. So it can go flat. Bring it up. Incline. And then you got the shoulders. So the higher this goes, basically you're going to hit your shoulders. The lower it goes, the more you're going to start to hit your chest. So because we have dumbbell thrusters in today's training, like I said, if you want to make those dumbbells feel a little bit lighter, and don't forget, guys, the stronger your muscles are, the less likely they're going to get under fatigue with the lighter weights. So it's good to work on that. So what this is going to do is going to isolate your shoulders, and we're going to do it with the same rep tempo as we did with the lats, the pull downs. And of course, guys, the first thing, or the thing we have to know when we train is make sure you do it. The weight doesn't matter, and you do it properly. Isolate the shoulders. So what we're going to do is sit on here. And one thing about this machine is that I'm seeing some people are trying it now. They're getting their arm in this position here. So see how my elbow is pointing way back? What I'd like to do instead is try to get my elbow forward. This is going to protect my shoulder. So it's the same thing as like doing those dumbbell front squats, holding a front rack position with a barbell. You're getting your shoulders in a safe position. So here, shoulders in that safe position, core is tight, bring it up, and bring it down with the shoulders. Cracks here and there. Controlling the negative down. And I'm just trying to feel it in my shoulders because that's the part that I need to get stronger. So anywhere else, it's too heavy. I'll gladly lower that weight down so that I feel it where I want. And I forgot how many I did. I'll just do one more. I'm pretty sure I did like 30. All right, guys, so I'm going to go on my second set now. One thing that I want to point out with this that could probably help with the training a little bit more is what I'm training for right now is dumbbell thrusters, or at least if that's what you want to train for, you want to get better at that. Try to get as specific, like try to get as close as you can to the actual movement standards that you're training for. So what I mean by that is when we're doing thrusters, we'd like to be here with the arm super straight. So what I want to do is actually isolate my shoulders, but see if I can get them to get used to those movement standards at the same time. It's like killing two birds with one stone, right? So get in there and try to, so elbows in. And Karina, I want you to look at the elbows in certain reps. So the first eight reps, I'm gonna do no lockout in the elbows. And the last 7 reps, I'm gonna do lockout, okay? So the first 8 are something that we can do to isolate, but if we wanna cross over into CrossFit training, you notice that my elbows aren't straightening out completely. That means I'm gonna have constant tension in the tricep, so, and the shoulders. So if I wanna really work the shoulders, I can do it like this. But if I wanna meet CrossFit standards at the same time, I can lock out my arms and control the negative. And it feels actually a lot more juicier like that. That's actually pretty good. Do one more. I feel like I did like 35 that time. All right, so third set. So now at this point, like I've made my decision to focus more on CrossFit style training. So what I'm getting in my head is that not only do I want to isolate my shoulders, but I'd like to try to get my body comfortable without also locking out at the elbow, okay? Just realized I was looking at the wrong side. So 12 to 15 reps. Actually, maybe can you get this? Just, I want everybody to see that, it's very important. So we go up, lock out, control, lock out. Oh, yeah, that was like 50. Pretty sure I did like 50 reps there. All right, guys, so this is the fourth set. Um, I'm actually going to go a little bit heavier this time. So the first three sets, just to give you guys an idea of how the sets and the reps work, is I have 4 sets total. My first 3 sets, I was actually able to hit the max reps required, which is 15. So I talk about risk sometimes. That last set, because I did so well in the first 3, I'm allowed to take a risk and go a little heavier at the end. So it's calculated. Sometimes just because it feels good doesn't mean that you should increase weight. So I'm going to take that risk now, making sure I'm still isolating the muscles that I want to use, and then move on to the next exercise. So this is the thing, guys, is weight training, your body doesn't really need a lot of it. If you start implementing this to your current training, it's going to be that much more on top of the adaptations that you're going to get from it, right? So last set. All right, 60 on that time. All right, guys, so now we have the third exercise, which is going to be the hack squat. One thing to think about is that because like we're training and we're isolating certain muscle groups that we used in CrossFit for today's training, so we have to consider that. You have to consider that you might be tired. Your muscle groups that you're targeting right now, they might be a little bit in fatigue. So you really have to go by feel. You got to make sure you're hitting the muscle properly and you're only feeling it where you want to feel it. So with the hack squat, what could happen is we could put too much weight on the hack squat, which could compromise our technique. Let's say we want to isolate our quads, which is something that I'm gonna aim towards today. But I'm feeling it more in my hamstrings. I'm feeling it in my entire leg. Makes more sense for me to deload the weight to make sure I only feel it where I want to feel it. So leave the ego at the door. I know it sounds cliche, but that's a real thing. Like that actually makes sense. So just the sled on this thing is 800 pounds. No, it's 80 pounds. So I'm actually just going to start with that and probably just add weight to that and see how it goes. My legs are a little bit tired from the thrusters this morning. So come over here. So getting into this thing now can be pretty cool. It's like feels like you're getting into a spaceship a little bit. So you're going to sit on the seat, feet on the pad. And before I get my shoulders underneath these pads here, which is going to lock me in, this is where you would decide. So Karina, come over here and I want you to see the feet. So if I place my feet lower on the pad down here, this is really going to target my quads. It's going to create a lot of knee flexion if I go very low. If I bring them up here, this might recreate a squat position, which is kind of in between the close and the wide stance. And if I really want to target my posterior, so hamstrings and glutes, I'm actually going to set up my feet even higher and really try to push with those muscles. So because we did thrusters today, I'm actually going to try to replicate the same stance that I would have doing thrusters. I'm going to take that stance and I'm going to try to apply it here. But what's cool is I could just target the weak link. Like let's say I'm doing thrusters and I find that my legs burn out faster than my shoulders. All right, take that information, apply it here, and only isolate the legs so that they become stronger next time you do thrusters, right? So get in here, shoulders on the pad, adjusting the feet, stand up, you unlock here, so hands come in, come down. So I want that good squat position, and then push up. Nice and controlled on the way down, and come up. Make sure to breathe. Right, handles back. We're safe. We can come up. All right, guys. So I'm gonna get into the second set now. I added a little bit of weight. Some people like to say my calves are small, so this one's for the haters, right? So what I'm gonna do is, let's look at the handles now. I went a little bit quick on my last set in terms of unlocking and locking in. So again, I'm on the pad. I'm gonna start by getting my feet close to the position I want. So replicate that squat position that I'm gonna be doing dumbbell thrusters. I'll get my shoulders under. And now you notice my knees are still bent. This is where I wanna be, because if the sled starts too high, I'm not gonna be able to dismount the sled off the slide here. So what I wanna do is make sure my knees are bent. It's in a good position. I'm gonna stand up, unlock, or unhook, bring the handles in. Now I'm free to squat. So here is gonna be safe. I'm gonna find that position to start. I can let go. Here, lift it, unhook, and I can start my squatting. Good one. All right, guys. So I'm going to be getting to the third set now. One thing that I can talk about, I think it's very important, that Karina brought up, was, are you locking out your knees, or are you keeping them flexed in the finishing position of this exercise? So with this, I would actually recommend not to lock out your knees, just because what ends up happening with this is we're squatting with a weight in a fixed position. So if I hyperextend my knee, the weight's gonna stay where it is, and it's gonna load that knee in a very bad position. If we have a free bar on the back, it's almost impossible for me to hyperextend my knee if I go too far, because the bar is moving with me. So this machine, if we were doing a leg press machine, usually when you're trying to move a fixed weight, like it's on a sled here, it's on a track, you gotta be very careful as to where your joints are positioned. So we don't wanna hyperextend our knee or do anything to the knee. So with this, I would always recommend to make sure that when you finish, like, it almost looks like I'm straightening out my knees, but there's a little bit of tension. If I were to straighten out completely like this, that's risky because now that weight pushing down on me, it could have enough pressure to hyperextend in the other direction. So I want to be tense the entire time. Okay. So third set, put a little bit more weight on there. It's at 700 now. So here, foot position, come down, get that full squat if I can, and then come up and only feel it in the legs. $1,000. All right, guys, this is the last set. So like I said with the shoulder press, rep range is 12 to 15. If I were to hit 15, which is the max rep range, every single time for the first 3 sets, I've earned a high risk set in the last set. That's the way I like to train. It makes sure that everything's safe, because if my goal in the beginning is to make sure I hit perfect sets, then with that, I'm going to be smart enough to say, well, let me reduce the weight a little bit so that I don't compromise anything that could ruin this set. So now that I've passed the first 3 sets with good form, good weight, I'm going to take a high risk on the last set. I'm going to jump a little bit more weight. Now, this isn't super heavy, but it's heavier than what I did earlier. So I would still consider it a high risk. Actually, to go with that is, when you train, guys, it's good to write the weights down, but always remember that those are just reference points. You could feel good one day, and you could feel not so good the other day. You could still train. Just use the weights that you did on the day you felt good as reference points, and say, maybe I'm not feeling that today, but I'm still going to try to shoot as close as I can to those weights, so I'm not missing out on too much. So on the pad, we're going to go that mid stance just to try to recreate my actual squat stance if I'm on the floor as much as possible. Get under, shoulders on the pad, lift off, unlock, and then control the reps all the way through. Control the negative. All right. 10,000 reps. All right, guys. Well, that's it for the training today. All done. Highly recommend to try to stretch the muscle groups that you train, just to make sure they don't get too tight and reduce the risk of injury. All good.